Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Folge meiner Interviewreihe Peak Performance profitieren von den Besten. An dieser Stelle möchte ich mich erstmal ganz herzlich bedanken beim Maritim Hotel Stuttgart für die Möglichkeit, hier das Interview führen zu können. Und zwar mit einem der weltbesten Trompeter. Über ihn sagt der San Francisco Chronicle, er spielt die Trompete so, wie der Rest von uns atmet, wenn wir Glück haben. Die Rede ist von dem in Russland geborenen israelischen Star-Trompeter Sergei Nakariakov. Sergei Nakariakov, 1977 in Gorki geboren, hat sich als einer der begehrtesten Trompeter auf der internationalen Bühne etabliert. Begabt mit einer seltenen Kombination aus atemberaubender Virtuosität, einem sanften und samtigen Klang und einer tiefen Sensibilität wurde er der Paganini der Trompete und Caruso der Trompete genannt. Er hat viele langjährige Beziehungen zu den weltweit angesehensten Orchestern, Musikern und Dirigenten aufgebaut. Sein Repertoire umfasst nicht nur die gesamte Originalliteratur für Trompete, sondern erweitert sich ständig um viele faszinierende Transkriptionen und Auftragswerke. Das Flügelhorn hat er quasi im Alleingang auf die Bühne gebracht. Seine zahlreichen Aufnahmen sorgen bei Publikum und Kritikern stets für Furore. Welcome, Sergei. You started playing the piano at the age of 6, and 2 years later you had a serious car accident, which meant you were unable to sit down. And this, of course, was the end of your piano playing, and that's why you switched to the trumpet. Do you think this accident was coincidence or fate?
So I would like to correct you a little bit. In the booklet of my first CD, there was this text about the car accident. Actually, I simply fell from a tree. So there was no car involved, but nevertheless, when I was 9 years old, I had a heavy accident and I injured my spine, and I ended up in the hospital for 3 months. Yeah. After which I wasn't allowed to sit down by doctors for a very long time, and I had to abandon my piano lessons. And since I didn't like practicing piano at all, I could focus on the trumpet, and this is how it seriously started for me with the trumpet.
Okay. In the documentary No More Wunderkind, your dad talks about the moment when you first heard a recording by Timofei Dokshitsa. A very slow prelude for organ and trumpet. And your father said, my little 9-year-old son had tears running down his face. And when you said, I will never be able to do this, your father was sure that's when he decided to become a classical trumpet player. Do you still have moments like that today when music touches you like that?
Yes. For instance, I recently attended a concert by Grigory Sokolov in Paris.
Okay.
And I was deeply moved by his performance, and the least thing to say. So definitely yes.
You have always been considered to be a child prodigy, but you've always insisted that you are not one. Why not?
because I'm not. I'm a very normal person. I just was lucky to play an instrument that I guess fits me well. That's how I think.
Yeah. The worst phase of the pandemic is over and you're back on stage regularly. What has changed for you since then?
Well, I value even more the possibility to play.
Yeah.
We all realize how fragile our world is.
Yeah.
Especially with everything happening in the world right now, with the ongoing war, yes, I feel that I'm a lucky person.
Yeah.
So far, at least.
Yes, it is. Yeah. You are currently a guest soloist with us, the Stuttgart Philharmonic Orchestra, and the day after tomorrow we have dress rehearsal in the morning and a concert in the evening. And my schedule says dress rehearsal without soloist. Do you generally avoid playing the dress rehearsal and the concert on the same day, or does it depend on how physically demanding the concert program is?
Well, actually, Maestro Dovris asked me to join for the morning rehearsal, so I will come and maybe play a few notes. But normally, I try to avoid doing it to keep all my energy for the actual performance.
How do you plan out your day when you have a concert in the evening?
Well, nothing special happens. I eat around certain time, more or less. I plan it kind of more or less the same every time.
Okay.
And maybe I can have a nap, and otherwise I guess it will be difficult for me to not to think of the performance itself.
Okay.
And I'll be waiting for the concert to be over so that I can finally relax after.
Yeah, okay. How do you prepare new repertoire? Do you have a specific approach?
It depends on the piece, but I don't like to be in a hurry.
Yeah.
So I like to take my time to really feel that I'm ready to play.
Yeah.
And once I feel ready, then I kind of announce that. So there is one more piece in my repertoire.
Yeah. Okay.
It really depends on the piece. With this work ad absurdum, it took a while till I felt comfortable, if at all it's possible to say this with this piece, because there are so many notes.
Yeah.
And every time it takes a different preparation compared to any other repertoire that I have on my list, so to say.
Yeah. Okay. So it is typical for musicians to practice etudes regularly. And on your YouTube channel, I remember you once mentioned that you don't play any etudes. How do you keep yourself technically fit?
Well, in the repertoire that I work on, there are many demanding spots which require attention, so I work directly on those.
Okay.
So basically those risky spots become my etudes.
Let's stay a bit on the topic of practicing. How do you build up stamina for a piece such as Ad Absurdum by Jörg Wiedmann, which is extremely physically demanding for a trumpet player and is unplayable for most trumpet players on this planet? Maybe it's important for my viewers to know what the online music magazine wrote about it. With Sergei Nakariakov, Wiedmann has found a soloist to whom he could write an almost unplayable solo part. And I've heard it today. It is really amazing.
Thank you. I wouldn't say that stamina is the biggest issue in that concerto, even though it might get tiring towards the end. But I would say the technical aspect is the most tricky in this piece.
Yeah.
Stamina-wise, well, it doesn't have really extreme high tones.
Yeah.
But it's really uncomfortable, so to say.
Yeah.
And it also, well, let's say it requires the stamina from the tongue.
Ah, okay.
This is not
Yeah.
what usually us trumpet players encounter very often, I would say almost never, but actually doing taka-taka-taka-ta for an extended amount of time eventually makes the tongue tired. So,
yeah, of course.
so since it's a muscle, well, I guess it requires training as well.
Mm-hmm.
And otherwise, it's important to inject this piece in your muscle memory.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
So that takes time.
Yeah, and this piece is not possible to play without circular breathing.
As it is written, no, it does require circular breathing, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Because otherwise one needs to cut the lines, because the first line is 2 minutes long. So
yeah. Okay, so if you travel a lot, Sergei, do you practice in hotel or do you rent a practice room?
I practice in hotels.
Uh-huh.
And since I don't really practice for many hours, by the time when neighbors get annoyed, probably by that time already, since a long time, done.
Yeah, okay.
And then, sometimes I practice with a mute, but I prefer to avoid doing so, because playing with a mute changes the placement of every note.
Yeah. Ah, that's funny. This is my next question. When and how often do you practice with a practice mute?
Actually, it's not even a practice mute. I use a Harman mute, which dampens the sound quite a lot.
Okay.
And, well, but otherwise I just play very softly without.
Okay. The last minutes before the concert, what are you doing?
Playing slowly some lines.
Ah, okay.
Slowly, sometimes not slowly, checking risky spots, trying to find the comfortable feeling in those places.
Ah, okay. And are there breathing exercises, mental techniques or stuff like that?
Not so far.
Not so far. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe one day.
Yeah. Okay.
So far I was functioning without these things, but maybe one day it can help, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Do you eat something before the concert?
Not just before.
Not just before. Okay. So when is the last point when you stop to eat anything?
Well, I prefer to have a proper meal maybe 3 hours before before the concert.
Yeah. Okay. Is there a specific ritual that you do before going on stage?
Not really.
Not really, yeah? Okay.
Just try to focus the best I can.
Yeah, okay. Perhaps we could talk about your daily routine. How do you keep your inner balance? Like, for example, how important is it for you to get enough sleep and to eat properly?
It is very important. Sleeping is vital.
Yeah.
Like for, I think, most people.
Yeah.
If I have my 7 hours of sleep, then it should be okay.
7 hours, yeah. Okay.
8 is better, but 7 is okay.
Yeah. Okay. How do you recover from demanding concerts? How do you plan out your rest days?
It really depends how tired I am after the performance. But sometimes I might skip a day of playing.
Yeah.
But very, very rarely more than one.
Yeah.
Normally I would skip a day of playing if I have a long travel, for instance.
Yeah.
But this doesn't happen often. And I never did any long vacation without my instrument.
Yeah.
At least playing a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Even 5 minutes is better than nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
To keep the muscles
for
in
the
shape,
embouchure.
sort of, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
The embouchure, yeah.
Oliver Kahn, a former goalkeeper of the German national soccer team, once said, "There are many books on how to get to the top, but there is no one to show you how to stay on the top." What is essential for you to have been able to maintain this level consistently for years?
It's an interesting question, because that question can only happen with certain age, and I'm not 20 anymore, so and one has to stay devoted to music. And with experience, we all know what we should do in order to stay in shape, and we should continue to respect the music. That's it. I would
That's
say.
it, yeah. Okay.
Oh, of course, the way how we prepare for concerts or for practice sessions might change because the quality of muscles changes with years. And now, for instance, I think that maybe I need more and longer warm up today compared to before.
Yeah.
So maybe somewhat flexibility is not the same, so it requires more attention.
Yeah.
But stamina and force, maybe strength, I don't know what's the best way to say, is maybe a little better today. So one has to balance, and if something drops, then with experience we know how to work on it.
Yeah, okay. Sergei, you've acted in a Japanese movie and you took acting lessons before filming. I also work with actors in my coaching sessions, and one common issue that many actors have to deal with is that they are unable to learn different dialects of their own native language. But you had to speak Japanese for the entire movie. And the question is, how did you manage to memorize the text?
Well, for me it was a very particular experience. It was definitely fun, and it was an honor for me to participate in a project alongside the true fantastic Japanese actors. What was easier for me is that I didn't have that pressure that because in the film I was a foreigner speaking Japanese, so whatever mistakes I would do would be understood somehow. I would be forgiven for that. But as I was told afterwards, what I was speaking was actually possible to understand. So I guess my training with dialogues that I had for a few weeks before the shooting helped. And it was fun.
It was fun. Okay. Was there a specific technique that you used to learn the text?
I just memorized it like music, like sounds.
Okay.
And
So
maybe today I understand even more what I was saying back then than at that particular moment.
Cool.
Back then I knew in general what I was speaking about. But now I know more in details.
As a professional musician, it's always important to work on your mental resilience. When did you learn to deal with maybe nervousness, or how do you prepare yourself mentally for your performances?
I can't really prepare for that. Of course, if one is on stage regularly, it helps. So it doesn't come as a surprise, but yet, despite of many years of this experience, the adrenaline is there, and even more with the years somehow. And I just take it as a given fact that one has to live with it. And the rest comes with experience.
Okay, so
I know that it will be there. Then with certain pieces less, with certain pieces more. It depends on the repertoire. Indeed, it depends on the mental state that particular day. It's never a perfect day for playing.
Definitely.
Almost never.
When the audience reads your name on the program, there is automatically a high expectation. Does it create extra pressure for you?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And if so, how do you deal with that?
I keep on practicing. And it's a fact, and we can't change it. Well, I was lucky to be on stage since very young age. So I've seen different stages of a life of a musician. But then, when I think of it, the most important is the music itself. So, and there, if one respects it and loves it enough, then there is simply not enough time to be worried about other things. Ideally. That is, ideally.
What others think about your musical interpretation and how they evaluate them, is that important for you?
What the other people think about my interpretation? It depends who. When I practice, I do trust several people around me.
Yeah.
Since the very beginning, there was obviously my family.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So my father and my sister. And later, I'm working since many years with Maria Mirovic,
Yeah.
a pianist from Belgium. So
Yeah.
we have this ensemble since many years. Otherwise, many musicians that I played chamber music with, or conductors. It doesn't mean that I would always agree.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah, yeah. During one of your Q&A sessions on the YouTube channel, you said there was a period I had serious endurance issues.
Yes.
I have overplayed and then it took me a while to recover. How did you manage to get out of it?
By practicing carefully. I was doing a lot of breaks during my practice sessions.
Yeah, okay.
I was just over careful.
Okay.
Took years.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, even today, I mean, maybe even is not the right word, but in general, there are many of my colleagues who have a lot better endurance than what I have.
How long did it take you to finally overcome the problem?
Eventually, I was more ready to compose my, let's say, recital programs of more demanding pieces. I always try to make my programs interesting, but it's tricky if you need to count your energy.
Yeah. How do you deal, Sergei, with the topic of perfectionism and making mistakes while you're performing?
They happen.
And that's it?
Well, obviously we practice and we prepare for our concerts the best we can. And then if we feel that we have practiced the best we could, then at least our consciousness is clean.
Yeah. And are you ever upset with yourself?
Oh, definitely. Most of the times.
Yeah, really?
Yes.
Okay. Was there ever a funny or unexpected incident that you remember?
Well, once I had a recital in San Francisco.
Ah, okay.
And I was supposed to play with my sister, but she didn't get her visa. So I played with Peter Grunberg, the pianist, local pianist from San Francisco.
Yeah.
We practiced the 2 encores that we were supposed to play. And somehow we didn't agree really in which order we would play.
Yeah.
So at the end of the concert, we started, and he played number 1 and I played number 2.
Yeah.
We stopped, then we started again, then we switched both. And then of course it was funny for everyone. So third time was okay.
Well, that's really funny. What advice would you give students today?
To love music.
What do you think are the biggest issues preventing them from achieving greatness?
Greatness, well, again, what is greatness? But I think nowadays students are starting to think too early of this thing which is called career.
Yeah.
To become famous, to get enough likes or views, one doesn't need to play music instrument. You just post a picture of a cat. It will automatically get a lot of views, and there are so much easier ways to get noticed.
When you're talking about the career, many musicians who want to make a career as a soloist try to launch their career by winning international competitions.
That's one way.
Yeah, that's one way. You proved that it's possible to have a solo career without winning one. Do you think international competitions are necessary nowadays to be successful as a soloist?
It depends. I was lucky back then not to play competitions because at the age of, let's say, 15, 16, I already, well, sounds maybe a little bit snobbish, but I had already everything that competitions could give me.
Yeah.
I had a recording contract with Teldec, which back then was one of the very few major record labels.
Yeah.
And I had my concerts everywhere. So there was no point to do the competitions. And also, for us trumpet players, one has to learn the repertoire, which might not be really needed
Yeah,
in concert life.
yeah,
That's one big difference with string players and pianists.
yeah.
Because our repertoire is so small, so the repertoire which is required in most competitions, let's say I don't agree with half of it.
Yeah, okay.
But again, this is just my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
It's liking or not liking. Maybe
Yeah.
somebody really loves it. So, but again, today everything is different, and of course, for example, winning the ARD competition
Yeah.
is a major thing
Yeah.
for any musician.
Yeah,
And,
and a big chance, of course. Huh?
I would say for trumpet is probably #1 competition.
Yeah. But it's not a must. It's not a must.
It depends on each particular
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, yeah.
I know that if I had to do competitions, I would have been extremely stressed.
Yeah, yeah.
Extremely.
Last question. If you could turn back time, is there anything you would do differently?
In my musical life, no. I think I can only be grateful
Yeah.
for so many things that have happened in my life, and grateful to people that have helped me along the way.
Yeah. Okay. Sergei, thank you very much for taking the time for answering my questions.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah. Thank you very much.